tour part 1 of Gyeongbokgung Palace.
My name is Sunny, and I'm very glad to meet all of you here and to be able to guide you this beautiful palace. This is a starting point, and the final destination will be the northern part of Gyeongbokgung Palace, and the tour will take about 1 hour. Okay, the name of this palace is Gyeongbokgung. It's pretty hard to pronounce the Korean name. So let me tell you the name again. The name of this palace is Gyeongbokgung. Gung means palace, and Gyeongbok, it means shining happiness. So this palace was originally built over 600 years ago with the start of Joseon dynasty. Have you ever heard of Joseon dynasty? Yes, Joseon was the last kingdom that existed on the Korean peninsula before Japanese colonial rule. So this palace was originally built in the late 14th century, but unfortunately, Gyeongbokgung was destroyed a lot by historical tragedies. In the 16th century, Japan invaded Joseon dynasty, and the war lasted for 7 years. That war almost collapsed Joseon dynasty. And in the meantime, every palace buildings were destroyed by fire. Nothing was left. So right after the war, there is another palace called Gyeongbokgung Palace, which was built as the secondary palace of Joseon. And Gyeongbokgung was rebuilt, and this had been left in ruins for 273 years. So for a long time, this had been left in ruins. But Gyeongbokgung was rebuilt magnificently in the 19th century during the second last king. And when this palace was rebuilt, in this area, approximately 500 buildings were filled in this place. But soon after that, Korea became a colony of Japan, and many of the palace buildings began to be destroyed again. Do you see this modern building here? This building was here in this site. It was a Japanese government building which was built in the year 1926. And Gyeongbokgung was like this. This is Gyeongbokgung Palace during Japanese colonial rule. You cannot find the main gate of this palace because it was moved to other place, and it was not a symbol of Joseon dynasty because this was a symbolic place to represent Korea as an independent nation. So many of the palace buildings began to be destroyed again. But still many Koreans remember this building because this building was here until the year 1995. It was used as a museum of Korea. But Korean government decided to tear down this building. So, as you see in this picture, this building was demolished to restore Gyeongbokgung as it was. So this is the current map of Gyeongbokgung Palace. The 30% was restored, and the restoration project is still going on. So my tour here in this Gyeongbokgung Palace will be divided by 3 chapters. The first chapter will be the official place for politics. That will include the main throne building here. This is a place for official events, and behind this building is their King's Daily Working Office. And in the west, there is a large pond and a large pavilion. This was an official party place. So this will be the chapter 1 of my tour, the official place for politics. And the chapter 2 will be the residential area for royal family members. That will include the king's main bedroom here, and behind this building is their queen's main bedroom. And in the east, this is a crown prince's residential area, and this is king mother's residential area. But in the chapter 2, we are going to stop by these 2 residential areas. And the last chapter will be this part. There is another beautiful pond, a lovely pavilion in the middle, and behind this pond is there another private residential area. This place is known as a very tragic site for Koreans because the second last queen of Joseon was murdered here by assassins hired by Japan. So when we arrive at the last chapter of my tour, if it is okay with you, I'm going to tell you the historical background behind the murder of the queen. So now let's start. So please come this way. Okay, let's just stop here for a while. Would you please look at that gate over there? That is the second gate of Gyeongbokgung Palace. The staff check your ticket at the second gate. And when you exit through the second gate, you will encounter another big gate. That is the first and main gate of Gyeongbokgung Palace. So all of us have met after passing through two gates already. And that is the third and last gate toward the main throne hall compound. In Korean palaces, to enter the main throne hall compound, you have to pass through three gates. And there is a stone bridge here. And in the past, water used to flow under the bridge. But we cannot see the gentle water that used to flow in the past because now waterway is cut off. But when it rains a lot, you can merely see this gentle water that used to flow in the past. So this water means the symbolic border between King's area and common people's area. And it made officials purify their mind before crossing this stream. So let's say there is a water here, and we already crossed over the stream, and let's get through the third gate and get to the main throne hall compound. This way, please. That gate is not simply a gate, but a place where political activities begin. So now we have arrived at the main throne hall compound. And currently you are looking at the primary building of Gyeongbokgung Palace. That is a ceremonial building. That building looks like a two-story building, but it is actually one-story building with a high ceiling. And it is standing on a two-tiered stone platform. And as a primary building, it should have a large yard where events could be held. So here, kings of Joseon conducted state affairs and received foreign envoys and held a coronation ceremony. So this is a place for official events. And in this courtyard, there are 1, 2, 3 lanes in the middle. The middle lane is a little bit wider and higher because the middle lane is reserved for a king. But actually, the king of Joseon Dynasty didn't have to walk along this middle lane because he was carried on a sedan chair. So, as you see in this picture, the middle lane, it was king's carriageway. So in that building, the king faced south. So that is south, and this is east, and that is west. And in the east and west, do you see what looks like tombstones in both sides? They are not tombstones, they are ranking stones. That is a standing marker. So from the high-ranking officials to the low-ranking officials, they stood right next to their ranking stones. East ones were for civil officials, and west ones were for military officials. The sun rises from the east and goes down to the west. So in the Joseon Dynasty, east had a better position. In the Joseon Dynasty, the civil officials, they had a higher position than the military officials. Okay, please remember this building when you see here. You are looking at the building in front. I'm going to take you the best spot to appreciate that main throne hall building. That will be the right corner of the corridor. So when you look at that building over there, the view will be quite different. So now let's move on to the next spot over there. Place is the best spot to appreciate that main throne hall building. So, can you see the difference? Because from this angle, you can see the main throne hall building with the surrounding mountains. The mountains are spread out like a folding screen. There is a North Mountain there, and there's a West Mountain there. The unique feature of Gyeongbokgung Palace is its location. The reason why Gyeongbokgung is located here is because the mountain is in the back and water is in front. So there is a Cheonggyecheon stream in front, and in the far there is a Hangang River. So Gyeongbokgung is ideally located there. So when you are in Gyeongbokgung Palace, do not just look at buildings only. You have to look at the building with the surrounding mountains because it is well harmonized. So from this angle, would you please look at the bottom of this courtyard? It is paved with very rough and bumpy slab stones. They are not cleanly cut, but it's not a mistake. They did this on purpose because these rough, bumpy slab stones, they deflect sunlight. So your eyes are protected under the strong sunlight. And when it is rainy and when it is snowy, it prevents you from sleeping. And it makes officials walk carefully in this courtyard. And these rough, bumpy granite stones, it has its natural beauty itself. It goes well with the primary building. And this courtyard looks flat, but actually it has a little slope. So would you please look at the corridor roof in the opposite side? The roof gets lower once, twice, in accordance with the ground levels. So that means the north is higher than the south. So when it rains a lot, you can see the water flows from the north to the south. And the water stays under the stone bridge and it goes to Cheonggyecheon stream and it finally goes to Hangang River. So this slope ensures smooth draining when it rains. Okay, from now on we are going to get closer to that main throne hall building. So please come this way.
The sky is so beautiful today. It's not too cold. It's a very nice day for this.
From this angle, you can see the graceful flow of slim curves of roof ridges, and you can see the dignified roof structure. And on the sloping roof ridges, there are many small animal figures. Do you see many small animal figures on the sloping roof ridges? It is believed that they are the characters from Chinese novel Journey to the West. In the novel, the characters go to India to get the Buddhist scriptures, and on their way to India, they expel many evil spirits. So they are there to protect this building from evil spirits. If you look around palace buildings, you will see those characters on the sloping roof bridge of a palace-related building. When we arrive at the tower, you can see those characters closely. Let me mention about those characters once again. So we are going to go upstairs, and you are lucky to see the inside of this main throne hall building, because the access to the stone platform will be limited from April. You came here in March, so you are lucky to see the inside of this main throne hall building. So now let's go upstairs.
맛있겠네.
Wait for a moment. So we are waiting for other guests to come here. So inside the building, you will see the king's chair in the middle, and behind the king's chair is there a picture. This picture has a sun, moon, and 5 mountains. It was the symbol of the king, so wherever the king was, it was always right behind the king. As I told you, this is one-story building with a high ceiling. And please, this is the ceremonial building to show the king's dignity. So the size and decoration is the best of all the palace buildings. So from now on, I'm going to give you 1 minute to look inside this main throne hall building. So please come. I'm going to wait for you guys here.
Thank you.
Please. Palace buildings were removed during Japanese colonial rule, but this building survived the Japanese colonial rule, so it was designated as national treasure of Korea. This is the biggest building, which was built in the 19th century. Okay, 130 English tour please get together. So did you look at the inside of this main throne hall building? And do you remember the sun, moon, and 5 mountain picture? Those 5 mountains are located in the east, west, south, north, and center of Korean peninsula. But I'm afraid 3 mountains currently belong to North Korea. In the South Korea, we only have 2 mountains. Because Korea is the only country which is divided by 2 nations after the Korean War, but in the Joseon Dynasty, North Korea and South Korea were one nation. So we share many things like the history, language, culture, because North Korea and South Korea were one nation for more than 1,000 years. So those five mountains means a Korean peninsula as a unified nation. If you have 10,000 Korean won bill, you will find this picture. Because as I told you, this was the symbol of the king. This is the fourth king of Joseon dynasty. The king Sejong the Great. He's one of the greatest king in Korean history. So you can find this picture. He's the one who created the Korean alphabet. So about this king, I'm going to tell you more about him in the next spot. And this main throne building is surrounded by a number of animal statues. So do you see many animal statues? On the second floor, those two animal statues, they are red, protecting on the left. These are four official animals protecting four directions. You will find blue dragons protecting on the east, white tigers protecting on the west, and these are red phoenixes. And there are two black turtles protecting on the north. They are also the Oriental constellations, which represent four seasons and four directions. And on the first floor, there are two horses. Have you ever seen this picture? These are 12 Oriental zodiac signs. You can find four animal statues among these 12. In the south, there are two horses. In the east, there are two rabbits. And in the west, there are two roosters. And in the north, there are two rats. That means morning, afternoon, evening, night. So you can find four animal statues among these 12. So that means the king of Joseon is the son of the sky who reigns in time and space. But those animal statues are not scary at all. They look lovely and they are cute. And if you look at the horses, it looks like adorable babies blinking their eyes. Okay, now let's go. And I told you about four auspicious imaginary animals, and they have their own color, which is red, white, black, and blue. And there should be one more color in the middle, which is yellow. So there are two yellow dragons in the middle in the ceiling. In front, you can see two yellow dragons. We are going to go to the side, and from that angle, you can see two yellow dragons. So please follow me this way. You can get closer to the from this angle. So please do not miss two yellow dragons in the middle in the ceiling. In China and Korea, the dragon means the king and emperor. So that's why there are many dragons inside this building.
Так, девочки.
The dragons, they are a combination of non-familiar animals, and they mean perfect creatures. So that's why they mean king and emperor. And the color is yellow in the middle. Currently, we are in the west of the main throne hall building. So on the second floor, you can find two white tigers protecting on the west. And on the first floor, those are roosters. The roosters means evening. So currently, we are in the west. So now, we are going to go to the north part of this main throne hall building. So would it be okay to move on to the next spot? So please come this way. That's why there are two black turtles protecting on the north. And on the first floor, these two animals are rats, and rats represent midnight. We are going to go downstairs, so please be careful. So far, we looked at the main throne hall building, and right behind this building is their King's Daily Working Office. It's also included in the chapter 1 of my tour because that building is also the place for official politics. So let's go downstairs.
Deixa eu colocar a mão no meu ombro. Aqui não. Só queria poder fazer mais devagar. Não é você, é que eu não quero perder o que ela vai falar lá.
But the king stayed most of his time in this building because this is a place where actually politics occur. So many important decisions were made in this building. So the name of this building is 사정전, which means the king should think deeply before deciding what is right from wrong. So from now on, I'm going to give you 1 minute to look inside the King's Daily Working Office.
Это офис короля.
Daqui dá pra ver melhor. Interesting chair. Quer que eu faça alguma coisa? Não.
So please come this way. Before we move on to the next spot, let me tell you a story related to that building. So before that, let me throw a quiz. In the Joseon dynasty, the king had a tremendous power. His power was so great that he could make any law that he desired. But there was a person the king was very afraid of. Can you guess who? His wife. I like your answer, but it is not right answer. His mother is not right answer. In the Joseon dynasty, the king could change the queen if he didn't like her, and he was allowed to have concubines up to 9. So the queen is not the right answer, and his mother is not also right answer. Would you please look at this picture? This is King's Daily Working Office, and you can find the king in the middle. This is a king, and do you see these guys? They are writing down something. What do they look like? Scribes or chroniclers, maybe. They are translated as historians. So by law, 1 or 2 historians always follow the king wherever the king was, and they wrote down everything, what they heard and what they saw, even if the king told them not to. The Joseon dynasty has a record. It's called the Annals of Joseon Dynasty. The Annal reports of one instance about the third king of Joseon Dynasty. The third king, he was the fifth son of the founder of Joseon, and he contributed the most in founding the new nation because he murdered any officials who opposed to founding the new nation, and he killed his brothers and his stepbrothers in the process of becoming a king. So after he became a king, many retainers were very much afraid of him. But one day he went on a hunting trip and he was riding a horse. While shooting an arrow, as the horse was toppling down, the king fell off the horse, but luckily he didn't get hurt. But the first thing that he told, do not let historian know about his fall because he was very embarrassed. So the retainers silently nodded, but these guys knew about that. They wrote away not only his fall but also his words, because those record was kept out of reach out of the kings. So even kings were not allowed to read them for fair recording. And after a king passed away, the scholars had written and edited the annals for the previous king's reign, and they made 4 additional copies. And one was stored in the royal court library, and others were stored in other safe depositories. That really worked because in the 16th century, when Japan invaded Joseon, all the annals were burnt down except for one copy. So right after the one, based on the surviving annal, they made additional copies. So luckily we have the whole volume of the annals of Joseon Dynasty, which was designated as UNESCO Documentary Heritage in the year 1997. So those records becomes the source of creativity to many artists, including writers. So that's why there are many stories, movies, dramas based on Joseon Dynasty, and some of them are very popular around the world. Okay, thank you for listening. Now let's go to the party place. Great.